I recorded Club Shay Shay last week. I knew it's weird when you talk to somebody for 2.5 hours. And I did like 3 podcasts last week. I did Vlad TV. I did Andrew Santino, which is going to air Friday. Had interviews. I did one of the shows for Netflix is a Joke Fest. It was a crazy week last week in LA. That's why I wasn't here. We did best of, but I think what the Club Shay Shay interview was the one I think one I've mentioned on my podcast, talk about speaking it into existence. And then they called, we got on, and it was a therapy session / I feel like I got to tell my side of the story. There was a couple stories that, from what I read in the comments and the DMs I got, people were confused by. So I can clarify some of the stories. And what's interesting about when you're getting DM'd and messaged on Facebook or DM'd on Instagram and things like that, the private messages are all positive. They're all just showing support. They're all like, hope you reconcile with your kids. Heard your interview. Thanks for being transparent. And, about 75% to 80% of the public comments are positive. But the people that are negative, the negative comments, they always make it public because they want a reaction. They never make it private. They never DM you ain't shit, you're a terrible father, you're a cheater, all the other stuff. It's always they want it public. So when you make a public comment like that, I'm like, oh, they want a reaction. And I think, and I've said this numerous times, like one issue I've had with my ex is she really reads the comments and takes them to heart. And when I do talk to her, I always try to stress to her, like, stop reading the comments. Most of them are bots or people that just want a reaction or are negative. But if you're not offering support or constructive, I'm cool with constructive criticism. I'm cool with seeing things in a manner that maybe I didn't look at. But if you're just saying he's a cheater, he ain't shit, you destroyed the family, I'm like, okay, let's just slow down when it comes to a divorce. Because now that I've admitted to infidelity, I've told my side of the story without, I feel like I've thrown my ex under the bus, place some blame. Because the truth of the matter is, when a couple gets a divorce, you can put blame all the way around. The woman's going to see it one way. The husband's going to see it the other way. And I think we get so caught up in, I got to be right. I got to win. I need public opinion to be on my side. And then I even said it like there always has to be a bad guy. Where in my case, I read some of the people's, like, some of the negative comments was, you don't realize when you cheat, you don't just cheat on the mom, you cheat on the kids and the whole family. And how, no wonder the kids don't want to mess with you. They go, you destroyed the family dynamics. So what I could say to that is, if people really listen to what I'm saying, I wanted the divorce. Wasn't the first time. There was 3 times in our marriage that I asked for a divorce. And the last time was the last straw 3 years ago. And as a guy that is cheating in the marriage, we were no longer intimate like we should be, as a husband and wife should be. It was the classic having sex on your birthday or a holiday. It wasn't how it should be. It wasn't like at least once a week, 2 times a week. It wasn't that. And it had been that way for a while. So we were more roommates than husband and wife. And this isn't a blame on her. This is both of us. I wasn't reaching for her. She wasn't reaching for me. And I think with me being a comedian, it's easy to compartmentalize that because I can go on the road and I can, quote unquote, like live a single life, if you want to look at it like that. And I could keep that on the road and then come home and I'm just a family guy. And I'm not justifying my behavior. I'm not saying I was right. I was completely wrong. But I think when you're talking about a divorce, you stay in the marriage. At least I'll say this. I stayed in the marriage so long because I was scared of my past catching up with me. I was scared that if I wanted to divorce, it couldn't just be amicable and say, hey, I just want a divorce, I'm not happy. It had to be, it's something else. It can't just be I'm not happy. But at the end, that's what it was. I wasn't happy. And, I know her just like she knows me. I know my ex. I know she was going to dig. And she was going to keep digging and keep digging until she found something. And that's what happened. So I was scared about my past catching up with me. And at that point, when you get to the point where you want a divorce, where I was at, I didn't care about her finding out anything. I was more worried that the kids were going to find out. And then that was going to blow their whole perception of me. So when she started making all my indiscretions public, I didn't care what the public felt, so to speak. I was more worried about what my kids were going to feel. And that's what sucks. That's what sucks in all this. So, and when people say, I read somewhere people's like, so you cheated, you left her high and dry, and you wonder why your kids don't talk to her. I was like, no, listen. I left in 2018, and I said I wanted a divorce. And we tried to give it the old college try. But the reason I had to do it the way I did it this last time was in 2018 when I said I wanted a divorce, I did it face to face. I remember she came home. I sat her down and we were in our bedroom, and I just looked at her. I said, again, I did the whole, I'm not happy, I want a divorce. And when I left the house that night, the first thing she did was cut off my credit cards because we were on a joint account. So I was like, oh my God, that was the initial instinct, cut me off financially. So that's when I was like, oh, when I realized I definitely wanted out 3 years ago, I had to be careful. We had separate accounts and things of that nature. And nobody was trying to screw anybody over financially, but it's like I said in the Shannon Sharp interview, like, it's one thing to want alimony. It's another thing to say, hey, we have debt also. So I took on the debt, and it was a lot. It was a whole lot. Whatever you think our marital debt was, times it by 10. That you probably still haven't reached the tip of the iceberg. But I was just like, I'll take it on. I got it. So I think when I read some of the comments, and obviously I always say people read comments. We all read comments. It just doesn't mean you have to react or you have to let that affect your day-to-day life or feel like you have to respond, because it's so weird. You'll get 1,000 good messages and one bad one, and you're ready to attack that bad one. But yeah, I think when you get a divorce, both parties are guilty of something. Nobody was the perfect husband or perfect wife, and then the other one wanted a divorce, and you're just like, wait a minute, I did everything. I did everything. It's just for whatever the reasons are, emotional, physical, financial, whatever, needs weren't being met. And so, yeah, I own my infidelities now. I got no reason to lie anymore. Yeah, I do have twins. Don't have to lie about that. That happened after the divorce. It wasn't during. I didn't get somebody pregnant while I was married, and then I want a divorce. That's false. So all that happened after. And today, as I'm recording this, I got a vasectomy. So my balls are so sore right now during this interview. But I ain't having no more kids. I'll tell you that. The day I'm recording this, I got up at 4:30 this morning, went down, got my balls snipped, and I got the biggest bulge right now underneath this table. I mean, I wish my bulge was that big. I didn't realize they put so much padding in your pants. So, Yeah, so I got twins, but there'll be no more. This is it. The lineage stops now.